Hello everyone, welcome to mock analysis session of English language section. This mock, as you must have watched yesterday's session of Sameer sir, is the practice mocks free mock test of SBI Clerk, right? Yesterday Sameer sir did the quant section analysis, and today we are going to do the English language sections analysis. So let's dive in and see what is there in today's agenda, and then we would one by one go on doing all of those stuff that we have planned for today, right? So first thing that is there in today's agenda is to discuss the strategy for this paper. Now when I say for this paper, obviously we would be talking about in the context of the practice mock free mock test of SBI Clerk. But the import of this discussion would be wide ranging. This would cover all the tests that you would be taking, all the tests that are of similar nature, right? For example, in another 1 week, you are to take SBI Clerk Prelims test, right? Okay, so our main direct focus of the discussion that we would be having regarding the strategy of this paper would have an import in that particular paper, right? So why are we doing this? We are doing this so that you can plan your prelims paper well of SBI Clerk. You can plan your prelims paper in a way which can maximize your score. That is why we are doing this, right? Okay, so discussing the strategy of this paper, obviously it would be in context of the SBI Clerk free mock that we are doing, but the learning that we would be getting from this is equally or would be equally relevant for all those tests that are of similar in nature, and most importantly the nearest one, the most recent one that we are going to face, and that is the SBI Clerk prelim test, right? Now after the discussion of the strategy, we would be going for solving and analyzing the question. Now please understand, I would not limit this to being only a solution exercise. Now solution you would also get in the practice mock solution set also. So what would be different here? The difference would be that, first difference is strategy. Because why strategy is important? See, what is the challenge that you are facing? A lot of you have shared with us that the challenge that we are facing at this point of time is that we are not able to get the score that we are capable of. We are capable of X, but we end up getting less than X. Now that's something that's not right. Okay. Now if I am capable of getting a 25 out of 30 and I end up getting 20 out of 30, now that's not right. If you capable of getting 20 out of 30 and you get 20 out of 30, there's nothing wrong in it. But if I am capable of getting more than that, you should be getting more than that. But that doesn't happen. Why does that not happen? Because we do not plan our paper well. Now, a lot of people believe that we do not need to plan our paper, we do not need to strategize for our paper, and especially in the English language section, if I can do it, I can do it, I cannot do it, and I cannot do it. Also, there is this idea floating in mind and in the market that you don't need to plan for prelims. If you have good capability, you would be able to clear prelims anyways. If you want to strategize for a paper, you should strategize for mains. But my dear friends, if I had to, agree with this line of thinking, even 3 years, 4 years back, I might have, right? I wouldn't have, but you could have made me agree, okay sir, even if I do not strategize for the paper, but still I would be able to clear it, right? So you could have been right. But today, in the scenario of enhanced competition, in the scenario of less number of vacancies, if you are not planning your paper well, you are reducing your chances of success. After that also you might get into by some chance or by some stroke of luck, but you are not doing justice to your capability then, right? Okay, so planning your paper is the first step that we are going to do, and that's going to be different in today. I was talking about what would be going to be different today, and the second thing that is going to be different today is that while we would be solving and analyzing the question, one thing that we will be taking into consideration is time. And that is very important, because see, how much time I am taking for a particular question, there should be a yardstick set in your mind. Because if you are taking more time, how would I realize that I am taking more time until and unless I have a yardstick set in my mind? So with each type of question, I'm also going to tell you how much time a well-prepared candidate should have taken, right? Okay, I'm assuming that you have prepared for these kinds of exams, and then only you're sitting for this exam. So a well-prepared candidate, how much time he should be or she should be taking in these kinds of questions. So I will be also discussing that time. So that would also be different. So the second thing that would be different is that we will be discussing that which question should be taking how much time. And third, obviously, we will be solving and trying to find out whether we could have done the questions in an easier way. So that would be also a different thing in today's analysis. And fourth and finally, the most important thing that we'll be doing, or rather I would say the last but not the least important, is that what you are supposed to do in this particular session with me is you are to check your scores of whatever you have when you have taken this paper, how much you scored. And then when you are going through this analysis, at the end, see how much you could have scored in this paper. Because I will be explaining the paper to you, I will be talking about the time limits. Reevaluate yourself that whether you could have scored more than what you had managed to score in that paper. Or even if by chance you have not taken this paper, when you go through and see that how much you could have scored in this paper. Is that a score that you normally get in mock, or it's an enhanced score? That is something that we will talk about there, discuss at the end. Okay, right. So these are the 4 important different things that we are going to do in today's analysis. So analysis would be there, the paper discussion, that would be there. But more importantly is not understanding the solution of the question. More importantly are these 4 different things that you are going to do. Okay. Okay. So first we will start with the strategy. Now I had taken a couple of minutes to talk about why strategy is important. Now, what is exactly, what do we mean exactly when we say strategy? See, basically, there are 30 questions. I'm talking about in the context of this paper. There are 30 questions, 20 minutes. So, time is limited, the number of questions are more. So, how can you score more? You can score more by attempting more and by attempting them correctly. Take it? Right. So, speed and accuracy, both of these things. Achha, if I am a person who is not very comfortable with parajumble without option, there was a set of parajumble without option in this paper also. So if I am a person who is not comfortable with that kind of question, should I be taking that kind of question at the start? I shouldn't be, right? Because it would end up eating into my time reserves and would not be giving me that confidence even after I have solved that whether I am right or wrong. And that mental, pressure that I create for myself by attempting parajumble at the first, that would go on to ruin my whole paper, right? So common sense dictates that I should not be picking parajumble first if I am not good at it. Right, that's how it is dictated. So strategy is nothing but to pick up the questions where your chances of scoring is high and the time that would be taken to solve those questions are less. Both, a combination of both, right? Prelims being primarily a speed oriented paper, we would give a little more precedence in the English language section. We will be giving a little more precedence to the speed front, and obviously I am also assuming that you would not have 0% accuracy in any one of these kinds of questions, but we would be giving more precedence to the speed front and a little lesser than precedence to the accuracy front, which does not ever mean that accuracy is not important. What I am trying to say is that while choosing the questions, if I am being able to do a question within a type of question within 20 seconds, that would gain precedence over a question that would I would be taking 40 seconds, right? Okay, so that's the idea. So that is what strategy. That's what strategy means. Now let's strategize for this paper and in a way show you how you could have done this in this particular paper. Okay, chalo. Let me move away from the screen. So first we will look at the paper, right? Remember, always whenever you are taking a paper, you should glance through the paper. Now what do I mean by glance through the paper? Simple. Look at sets of questions that there are and what kind of questions they are. For example, if you had glanced through this paper, you would have got that there are first 7 questions were from RC. I'm not going to read all the questions of RC, but I'm just going to see that from one passage how many questions have been given, right? So that's only what I'm going to see, and that would hardly take you 10-15 seconds at the max. Now then the next set is Parajumble and there are 5 questions based on it. Then move on to the next set, which is closed test, and there are 5 questions on this. And then very fast I will do next and see how many error spotting questions are there. Oh, this is also 5. This is also 5. Okay, 5. 18 to 22, 5. And then at the end I say saw that there are vocab questions, 5 word replacement question, word usage question, and 3 word replacement questions. Okay, so this is the skeleton of the paper, the structure of the paper. And to do all this, you would not take 1 minute to 1 minute 30 seconds, not more than that. If you are taking more than that, then you are not following my instruction. My instruction is very clear. Go ahead and just go through the skeleton of the paper. So you are not to read every question. You just need to ascertain the type of question that is there and how many questions of that type you have got, right? So this is what you are supposed to do. Now, so this is 5 questions. So 7, 5, 5, 5, 3, with total 30 questions. Now, how should I have ordered my attempt? Because the main part of the strategy is ordering the attempt. See, strategy has 2 parts to it. Let me write that for you. Strategy has 2 parts to it. First part is ascertaining the order of the question, in which order you are going to attempt the questions. The second part is following discipline while attempting the questions. Okay, right, while attempting the questions. Now what does this mean? What this second part means, we will see while doing the questions. What this part means is something that I am going to show you just now. In this particular paper, what would have been a preferable way of attempting? From 1 to 30? No. Why? Because the first set is RC. And I do not recommend to do the first set as RC. Why? Because you see, to get into the groove of reading, you take some time. And if you are not in that, if you do not give yourself that space and time, you would not be reading efficiently the RC. So go on to the RC after you have attempted some questions. Now, which questions can I attempt? Those questions which would take less time and I would be more accurate in it. So closed test finds a good, is a good candidate in it, right? Achha, this PJ questions were without option. Now, PJ question without option is a different animal than PJ question with option. Remember that always, right? So PJ question without option are those kind of questions that technically takes more time, and the accuracy level is also low. I mean, accuracy level is uncertain in there. Okay, right? So why am I telling you this? A lot of people might be good in PJ with option, and they might choose PJ with option as their first or second priority question, but they might not be very comfortable with PJ without option. So always see which kind of questions have been given to you. PJ with option or without option? Achha, what do I mean by without option PJ? Without option PJ are nothing but you are given a set and you are asked question like what is the second sentence, what is the first sentence, what is the third sentence. There will be options to that. But essentially, you cannot eliminate options to ascertain the right order in that sentence. I've talked in detail in about with option and without option PJs earlier also. So when I say without option PJ, I do not mean that the questions will not have option. What I essentially mean is that those parajumble cannot be solved with the help of the option, because we'll have to first ascertain what order it is in and then answer the question. Okay? So those options does not help us. Achha, where there are options like A, B, C, D, D, A, B, C, those are PJ with options and they are easier to solve than the PJ without option. Now, coming back to the order. So, the first should be close test. Now, close test, why? Because they take less time. Amongst the questions that are there here, they take less time and they are normally more accurate. Achha, why not vocabulary? Because vocabulary traditionally takes least time. Because these are not direct vocab question. If they had been direct vocab question, even if you are not sure about their accuracy, you should have attempted vocab as the first option, because they take very, very less time. I mean 5 to 10 seconds. But these are not direct questions. These are not synonym antonym wala question. These are questions where you need to also apply your grammatical skills, your knowledge of words, knowledge of placement of the words. So these would take traditionally more time, these would take more time than the traditional vocab questions. Okay? So closed test becomes our first category. There is a second category. Now in second category, you can go for the RC, and here you can go for the error spotting, because these were very simple error spotting question. One sentence was divided into 4 or 5 parts. So that makes the error hunting easier, right? So RC and then error spotting. So that was the second category. The third category should have been the word usage ones. The word usage ones, because normally whether the word has been used correctly or not takes lesser time. And finally, the fourth category should have been the word replacement ones, because they need a little bit of more thought process to solve them. And lastly, in fourth category also, last would be parajumbles without option. So these are the 4 categories. Now, what do we mean by 4 category? 4 category means this is the order in which you should have attempted this paper, right? Now, you can understand that if this skeleton changes, if this changes, right? Okay, then this also changes, the nature and the order also changes, right? So I am showing you, but I cannot give you a generic strategy. That would depend upon paper to paper. What I can give you is the way in which you identify which to do first and which to do later. That I discussed with you. That should help you to decide for yourself in the prelim paper that you are going to take. You're getting my point, right? Okay, so this is the order in which we'll attempt. Achha. Until and unless something gives us fruit, bears us fruit, how do we know that it works or not? So now we would see that by doing it in this order, is there a possibility of increasing our score and reducing the time taken to attempt this paper? A lot of people said that when they were trying to attempt the paper, they ended up having less time. They ended up taking the whole 20 minutes and they were not able to attempt all the 30 questions. Is this happening? Can that be avoided in this with this strategy? Let us see. So we will first start with the closed test, right? So there are 5 blanks. We'll have to look at each one of the blanks and the contextual significance and find out which option fits. The first one, over his career, Thomas Edison blank more US patents than anyone in his time. Mimic? No. Garnered? Maybe, because garnered means he he collected, collated, right? Garnered definitely can be. Discerned? No. Portable? No. Ensnared? No. Doesn't make sense. So only garnered makes sense. Now, tell me this. This was a single FIB kind of question. I mean, you don't need to read the whole paragraph to do this question, do you? Tell me that. You don't, no? Now, in this question, should you have taken more than 20 seconds? I don't think so. If you have taken more than 20 seconds in this question, then you have wasted time, my dear friends. Now, next. Edison profited from his patents, but he was also blank to the dark side of the patent system. So, he was, some way associated with the dark side. So, let's look at the options. Captivate. Captivate does not make sense grammatically. Captivated might have been. Demolished. To the does not make sense. Demolished to doesn't make any phrasal verb sense also. Anticipation, wrong parts of speech. Exposed to the dark side, yes. Corroborated does not make sense. So exposed to the dark side, again 20 seconds question. He had to, next question, he had to blank with lawsuits by other patentees. So he had to fight lawsuits, right? So he had to contend with lawsuits, means contend with means fight, makes sense. Elope with doesn't make sense. Vicious, vicious means very vindictive, very bad. Vicious with lawsuits, no. Score with lawsuits, no. Renounce with lawsuits, no. So only contend makes sense, right? Again a 20 seconds question. Now you might say, sir, if I did not know meaning of score, let's say, or if I do not know meaning of renounce, renounce means to leave all worldly possessions. So if I do not know the meaning of these, how am I going to answer this question? It's difficult, but it's not impossible. Because if you know the meaning of this, you know that this, and this is a very simple word. If you don't know the meaning of this, that shows that you have not been preparing well. I mean, this basic English is something that you are supposed to know about. So contend with is something that you could have very easily answered from the context of from this, the context is fighting. So contend with lawsuits is something that you could have very easily identified, even if you did not know the meanings of the other words. Now, next one. While the patent system is designed to blank innovation like Edison's, it also hampers it. It also hampers it. That means the word in the blank would be opposite to hamper. Designed to do something to Edison, it also hampers it. The structure of the sentence says that hampers is opposite to this. Now, loath, no, negative word. So that should be a positive word, right? In the blank. Revel innovation like does not make, it's a positive word, but does not make sense to put that word. The word does not make any sense. Mirror, no. While, no. Spur, right. Spur innovation, it motivate innovation like Edison's, but it also hampers it. Most technologies are, so again a 20-second question. Next. Most technologies are developed by many inventors over many years, a process called cumulative innovation. Too often, however, early inventors get a patent on a small and perhaps insignificant piece of technological puzzle, yet their patent covers the entire puzzles. So someone has made a start into a field, the whole patenting system now would favor him. Anyone who is making a subsequent, a later date innovation in that field, though it might be a bigger achievement, that person would have to give royalty to the original inventor, though the original inventor might have contributed very little, right? And that's why it also hampers innovation. Got the point? So here now comes the next sentence. Inventors who solve blank parts of the puzzle may need to pay royalties to the patentee even if their contribution are larger. This is what we discussed. So what would be the puzzle? Subsequent parts of the puzzle. Next parts of the puzzle. So the original patentee would be given still the royalties. Right? Now, see, so simple. And from the options you could have done. I mean, you go through the option. One thing I have noticed that people take more time in closed test because of two reasons. They try to understand the whole passage to the depth, to its, utmost depth. कि ये पूरा माजरा क्या है, क्या बोलना चाहता है, पूरा समझना है मुझे. But my dear friends, in exam, your target is not to, let me come on the screen for this. Your target is not to understand everything. Your target is to score in the exam. Do not, have, wrong priorities in the question, exam. That does not mean that you should, go and mark tukkas. No, I don't mean that. But what I mean is that sometimes questions like close test, RCs, even without understanding the whole thing, by understanding that local area, even if you do not understand the whole passage, but by understanding the local area, you can answer correctly. Especially in papers such as prelims, of clerk, PO, especially in these papers. In mains also, some places you can do it. So, in that condition, should I try and invest time and understand more, or should I try and answer the question correctly and move on to the next? Tell me that. It is better to do the second one, na? Right? Move on to the rest, and because you are getting the marks anyways, whether you understand the global scenario or you understand the local scenario. If you are getting the marks, your job is done. Again, let me caution you. I do not mean what I said does not in any way. In any way, I do not mean that mark tukka and move ahead. No, right? What I mean is that if your understanding of the local area of that particular passage is helping you to answer the question and move ahead. Okay? Now, these 5 questions you could have taken 1 minute 40 seconds and 1 minute 40 seconds and you would be done with 5 questions. And at least 4 of them you could have got correct. At least 4 of them you could have got correct, right? Next. The passage now. Now, how to do the passage? First understand, for doing the passage, the way I prescribe is a little different. What do I say? That go through the roots of the question first. What do I mean by the roots of the question? This part of the question. All the questions roots. There are 7 questions, go through the roots of the question. For example, methane emissions are produced by which of the following? So, methane emission is important. Then we will go on to the next question. I am not going, but I am just saying next question, question number 2. I will read again the root and see what is the keyword in there. Here methane emission is the keyword. Similarly, you would get from all the 7 questions, you will get the keyword. This whole exercise would not take you more than 30 to 40 seconds. Only the root, not the whole question or the option, no. So, after you have read the roots of the question and then you read the passage. Now, when you read the passage, you would be able to identify the areas from where the questions have come and would make a mental note of those areas. Plus, you will also identify obviously the ideas which you think are important according to the author when you are reading. Okay, this you would do. Once you have done that, then again come back to the question. Achha, when you read through good reading habits. I always profess good reading habits. Now, what are good reading habits? Those who have studied with me, they know that I profess ERIC, accelerated reading and improved comprehension. So, what does it mean? That you do not regress while reading. You take 3-4 words at a time, right? You do not vocalize while reading, and we have practiced all of these. Those who have studied with us have practiced all of these inside the class and while you have done. So, you would have to follow those reading techniques. Let's say you have not gone through those reading techniques. No issues. In these 10 days, do not try to learn anything new. In these 10 days, you just read the best way that is possible for you and read it in 2 to 3 minutes at the max. Okay. Now, I will be going through each one of the questions. I am not going to go through the whole passage. You have already gone through the passage. If you have not, go through the passage and then go through the solution with me. So, I will jump into the solution part. Now, see. Methane emissions are produced by which of the following? Now, from where are these? Is this question? This question is from here. The main drivers are CO2 emission from deforestation, methane emissions produced by ruminant livestock and by anaerobic fermentation of organic matter, mainly from rice crop and nitrous oxide emission from fertilizer use. This is the area from where the question has come. If you have read the roots of the question, then you would know that this is the area from where this answer would be there. Now I would go through this. Ruminant livestock, yes, it is there. Fertilizer use, well, this is something which methane emissions are produced by which of the following? The fertilizer use is not, creating methane emissions. What is creating? Anaerobic fermentation of organic matter. Now in here you could have got confused, because what it is written in here is methane emission produced by ruminant livestock and by anaerobic fermentation of organic matter. This is the main reason, right? That anaerobic fermentation of organic matter mainly from rice crops happens mainly from rice crops and nitrous oxide emissions from fertilizer use. So from fertilizer use there is nitrous oxide emission, that also contributes, rice crops also contributes. Okay, right, but this is a part of this, na? And in general fertilizer use also has not been referred to. So when I have this kind of option, I would go for the more dominant option, and the dominant option here is 1 and 3. So there is a difference between the three options. These are the dominant direct option. This is the indirect option, a part of this option, right? Okay. Also an incomplete part of this option, and therefore we would prefer 1 and 3 and not 2. Could you have done a mistake in this? Yes, you could have done, but you would not have wasted time on this. Either you would have marked only 1, 3, or you would have marked all 1, 2 and 3. But you shouldn't have wasted time. At the max 30 seconds in this question and you move forward. After you have read the passage, obviously. Okay, right? Okay, next. Always remember, if you are doing 6-7 question and you are getting 1-2 wrong out of that, because you thought a little differently, that does not matter. It is better to have your own thought process rather than try to force fit your answer to what has been given in the solution. Don't change your conceptual background on the basis of one question, right? If you have concepts based on logic, use them. If one question does not fit it, leave that question. Okay? Next. Which of the following, I have not been telling you this with respect to only the last question. I am talking in general also. Which of the following contributes more than 60% of the total agricultural emissions at European level? Here it is. 60% of the total agricultural emissions at European level, where it is from? Livestock sector. So your answer is B. This you couldn't have got wrong. This was direct as it can get. Now next question, question number 3. Which of the following is or are part of the CMCC's proposed land-based approach? So where is CMCC's proposed land-based approach? Here it is. CMCC proposed land-based approach consists of 2 consecutive steps. Assessment of emissions from livestock activities, that is carbon footprint, small scale rural areas, followed by evaluation of this. So in small scale rural area, and then second is followed by evaluation of mitigation potential of a set of land-based option against livestock emissions assessed in the previous step. So 1 and 2. Let's see the options. Reducing level of production risk and enhancing soil capacity? No. Assessment of GHG emissions? Yes. From livestock activities? Evaluation and mitigation potential? Yes. So only 2 and 3. Option number C. Clear? Right? Next. Question number 4. Which of the following methodologies were used to develop the CMCC's land-based approach? Just in the next para. CMCC scientists developed a land-based approach by combining different methodologies. GIS, LCA and methodologies from Intergovernmental Panel to investigate how much of GHG emissions from livestock can be decreased. So GIS is there, yes it is there. Methodologies from ICC is there, life cycle assessment is there. So all A, B, C would be the answer here. Simple, right? Let's move on to the question number 5. In which of the following countries did CMCC first test? In here only we see, in this one only, the rest is in central Italy, so it has to be Italy. So if you have read the passage, out of these 5 questions, at least 4 you would have answered correctly. Last 2 questions. Enhanced opposite word. You have already read the passage, but even if you have not read the passage and go through the option, you would see that there is nothing else that can come apart from be impaired, right? But you can go this part of the passage and read it and answer too. Question number 7. Closest meaning to undermine. Undermine is it defame, ignite, diminish? Diminish it should be. See. So 6, 7 was a direct vocab question. Yes, going back to the passage would have helped. But even without that, because the options were not close, you could have answered it. And now see how much time you should have taken for this. Total time shouldn't have been more than 5 minutes. How? 30 seconds time to go through the roots of the question. At the max 2 minute time to 1.5 minute. If you are doing good reading habit, 1.5 minute at the max, or else 2 minute. Plus another 3 minute to, or 3.5 minutes. 7 questions are there, na? So 3.5 minutes or 30. These would not take 30 seconds, I suppose. These are 10 seconds questions, right? So 3 minute total time for this. So 3 to 5, 5.5 minute. So 5.5 minute for this. So your total time is now around 7 minutes. 6 minute 40 to 7 minute cumulative time. And now tell me, total you could have got 4 plus 6 out of 5 plus 7. 10 out of 12 correct? Yes or no? You are into 7 minutes into the paper and you are scoring, you have already scored 10 marks. Right? Okay, and we are still left with so many questions. So this is how strategy helps us. And this is also the part of the strategy that we are talking about. Time management. If some question is taking more time than it should be taking, leave it and move forward to next question. Next. Question number 18. This is our next priority questions. Question number 18 to 22. Let's see where there is error. Global demand for natural rubber will increasing. Will increasing is wrong construct. It should be will be increasing. So B is the error. There is no multiple place error. So if I get it, I can mark it. But still you can read it, especially as developing nations grow wealthier. So these two seems fit. This is fit. So only problem here. How much time you should have taken? You should have taken less than 20 seconds. Na? Achha, you might say that, sir, this would have taken less time than per question of RC. So why didn't you do this first? Valid question. Hai na? This is a valid question. But my dear friends, how would I know that unless I have solved the questions? Alright. In general, grammar question takes, from speed and accuracy front, they would be coming at par with RC. But these questions being easier than normal grammar questions that normally comes in PO exams or even in clerk mains, therefore this would take less time and therefore they could have been placed before RC, but how would I know it until and unless I have solved it? And in the first 30-40 seconds or 1 minute where you were supposed to go through the skeleton of the paper, there you cannot identify whether the question is easy or not, because you are not reading the question, you are just identifying the nature of the question at that point of time. So this is so therefore the strategy that we are sharing with you, I am also showing you that these are not that is the only right order in which we should do, but planning and following time limits helps us to maximize our score, right? Obviously we could have done these 5 questions before the RC, right? But and if someone has chosen it because he is good at grammar, because she is more confident in grammar, then it's okay, nothing wrong with that. But there has to be some logic, some common sense with which you are fixing your order. Okay? Chalo. So next one, question number 19. The new space market is characterized by projects that are focused on commercial return. This is so simple. Just by reading it, we can get that focus is wrong. So C is the answer. Again, less than 20 seconds and 100% surety that you would get it correct. Next. While most people will agree in principle that more environmental protection is better for the world, they usually hold different views on how to get there. Now this there is wrong, no? Spelling mistake. There should be this there, right? Okay, this there is the possessive form of a possessive plural form of he or she. Okay, so this is not necessary here. We need the place wala pronoun there. So therefore D should be the answer. Again a 20-second question. Next. City planners should be prepared to recognize and plan for the benefits that co-working spaces bring while minimizing negatively impacts. No. Negatively is wrong. An adverb cannot come here. While minimizing the negative impact is what it should be coming, right? So C is wrong in here on users, neighbors and broader community. Last question of this nature. During World War I, artists started using discard object. Discard object is wrong. I need an adjective. So an adjective would be discarded objects. So again a 10 seconds to 15 second question to push back against the growing commercialization of arts. So B. The 20 seconds again. So even, I have given you more time in here. So I have given you more time in here, 20 seconds. So then also you are at the max 8, you should have taken 10-15 seconds. If you have taken a little more time in RC and less time in here, 8 minutes or 8.5 minutes, let's say 8 minutes 30 seconds, you are done with this. And out of these 5 questions, my dear friends, these were so easy. If you have gone through even the first 13 lectures of my grammar playlist, you would have been able to do these without breaking a sweat. We have done more difficult question in the concept lecture on YouTube. Remember? The first 13 lectures of our grammar playlist. Okay, right. So 5 out of 5 is a given in here. So 15 out of 17 is what you would have got here, and you are just at 8.5 minutes at the max. C. Next was the word, the usage ones, which is wrong word in here. When they asked Zadnov if they should impair for armed revolt, when they returned to him, he did not answer. So impair makes no sense. This seems like something like prepare, where they should prepare, right? Okay. So therefore impair is wrong. A is wrong. Again, if you are a good reader, you can do this. This is vocabulary question. So if you are a good reader, you can do this within 10 to 15 seconds. But 30 seconds is more than enough. If you are taking more than 30 seconds, you are thinking in circles. पता है thinking in circles क्या होता है? Doing the one thought process again and again and again, and essentially not going anywhere. ठीक है? Right. Next. Her chief legal constraint was that she had neither been asked for permission for the adaptation nor paid any royalty. So something did not happen with her. So that cannot be legal constraint. That would be legal complaint or something sort of that. Right. So constraint does not fit in here. So B is the answer. Again a 30-second question. Don't think in circles in these kind of questions. If you get it, get it. You don't get it, don't get it. To avoid the catastrophe of open warfare between Bruce and Balliol, the Guardians and other Scott magnates, asked Edward I to intervene. Seems fine. Let's read it. To avoid the catastrophe. Oh, catastrophe spelling. See, the spelling mistake can also be there. Catastrophe spelling is E. It is E. It's not Y. So, therefore, that is wrong. You might have missed it and you could have marked all are correct. I totally agree. I totally agree to this. You could have marked it this one. And that would have been a fluke mistake. We can't do anything about it. Right. So, don't be over, over critical of yourself if you do such kind of mistakes. You'll have to give yourself that margin. Joan asked for permission to travel with the army and wear protective armor, which was provided by the royal government. Seems fine. Let's again read it. Joan asked for permission to travel, okay, with the army and wear protective armor, okay, which was provided by, seems all fine. So I would go with all are correct. E, right. Now here you might have, again, in all are correct also there some people have some confusion. That's when we do not find any error, we sort of get confused that whether you should mark it or not. So please understand, if you logically and if you from your concepts do not get any error, there is no error. That's what you need to believe in yourself in that particular time in the exam. If you have studied well, if you do not have any idea about grammar, then everything is a tukka for you. Okay, right? So, and I hope that is not the case. So this is the time that you should have taken. These 30 seconds, 2.5 minutes, so 10 in the 11 minutes, let's say 10 to 11 minutes. I have given you another extra time, 10 to 11 minutes, not more than that, and you are done with these questions. And 4 you could have got correct out of these 5. Oh, we haven't been done with the 5. This is the 5th one. He asked his disciples to adopt this is disciple, definitely disciples, na? Adopt a vegetarian diet, abstain. You are saying your followers. So followers means disciples, or is a spelling mistake again. So again A. So out of these 5, you can very easily do 4 correct. And you are at 11 minutes or so. 11 minutes and you are done with how many? How many you are done with? 22 questions, I suppose. And you could have scored a 19 out of these 22. See, this is where you could have scored. Okay? Chalo, the last 8 questions now. 28, 29, 30 were the word replacement ones. Let's see that. The government is what kind of question these are? These are questions that we have been seeing for the last couple of years, that one set of words, bold words, would be replaced in this, and then the sentence would make sense. So let's see. The government is developing innovative strategies, makes sense till this point, to get people in without insurance, assist medical care. Now assist does not make sense in here, but if I replace get medical care and assist people, assist means help people without insurance to get medical care, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense, right? So assist and get would get replaced. So D is the answer. Now this kind of question, because you might not have more practice, not have adequate practice in these kind of questions, so you might get them wrong. But if you get them wrong, if you get them wrong, it is because that you are judgmental, you are prejudiced. You are thinking, because I have not practiced, therefore I will do it in a wrong way, and you end up doing it wrong because you have thought it so. You might not have practiced it much, but these can be solved from the common sense that you have, from the knowledge of words that you have, from the knowledge of word usage that you have, that you can do, na? So these, have confidence in yourself and do these on the basis of your common sense, even if you have not practiced enough. This holds true for any kind of new question if there is. If you come across, let's say, a new kind of question, what would you do? You should then try and use your common sense to do that question. Don't think that, boss, I haven't done this earlier, how can I do it? There is no need to think that, because these questions were very easy, 28, 29, 30. If you had used your common sense, you could have easily done them, even if you have not practiced these kind of questions. Okay, let's see the next 2 questions. Question number 29. Emergency funds are being mitigated to... so mitigate is wrong in here. So something should be there which is past participle in nature, to help provided the effects of disaster. So provided has to be come in here. Being provided to help mitigate the efforts. Mitigate means listen. Mitigate the effects of disaster. So provided and mitigate. A is the answer. You shouldn't be taking 40 seconds, but I am giving you extra time. You could have done this in 20 to 30 seconds. Political economy theory regards constitution as coordination devices that prevent citizens To help rulers from abusing power. To help rulers from abusing power? It should be the other way around, na? It should help citizens to prevent rulers, because rulers have the power, they should be prevented from abusing it. Right? So prevent and help should get interchanged, and you have C as the answer therefore. So you see, the next 3 is also done. You're done with 25 questions, and you could have very easily got all 3 of these correct. They were very simple questions. So 22 out of 25 you could have got correct, and only 13 minutes or so, I'm giving you another 30 seconds extra, 13 minutes or so you would have been done with. See, that's how easily you could have scored 22, or let's say 20 in this, plus in this paper. Now the last 5 questions. Let's see. The parajumble. Yes, parajumble without options are more challenging than parajumble with option. But does that mean that we should not be doing that? No, not at all. We should try it. We should try it at the end, but we should try it because in these kind of questions we have normally seen that the ordering structure is easy to do, and therefore you get the answer correct. At least 3-4 of them correct. Okay, let's see. This replacement process is normally driven by distant gravity forces as denser parts of the plates sink back into the earth. This replacement process, this cannot be the introductory one. It has to be something, the replacement process has to be discussed first. And denser parts of the plates. Now plates is also something that has been discussed. The plates attached to the North and South America are moving apart from those attached to Europe and Africa by 4 centimeters per year. This is a generic and a tone setting kind of, a topic setting. I will not say tone setting, topic setting kind of question. Topic setting kind of question. We have, in multiple parajumble class, we have seen how to approach these questions. So you know how to see whether it is an introduction or not. If you have not watched them, I would give you the link in the description section of both parajumble and the grammar playlist, right? Even if you do not have time as of now, you can go through them later. So what is an introductory sentence? Introductory sentence is either a general one or something which sets as a topic. So this is a setting of topic, but we are not sure until and unless we go through all the other sentences. How can I say that Q is the starting? I cannot say. It might be, it might not be. Let's see. The mid-Atlantic ridge is a site where new plates are formed. Okay, this is also a generic sentence, but seems to be something that would come after Q only. It cannot come before Q. Beneath this ridge, material rises to replace the space left by the plates as they move apart. Which ridge is being talked about? Obviously mid-Atlantic ridge. So obviously S should follow R. Whether it is immediately after R or not, we will see. We will see that. Right. In between these continents lies the mid-Atlantic ridge and a dividing line between plates. So that means T is related to Q, and T should follow Q, and T should come before R because T is introducing mid-Atlantic ridge. So that should come before giving more data about mid-Atlantic ridge. So T should be following Q and it should come before R. Now where does that place P? This replacement process, the P is referring to the whole thing that is happening, the whole process of replacement. So that would only come after the whole thing had been introduced. So therefore P would come at the end. So Q, T, R, S, P is the right order, and then you can answer all the questions based on that. So to do this, if you are a good reader, you should take not more than 2 minutes. Even if you are a so-so reader, you should take not more than 3 minutes. At the max, 3 minutes, 30 seconds, not more than that. If you're taking more than that, that means that you are thinking in circles, right? Okay. So if that's 3 to 4 minutes that you're taking, still you would be at 16 minutes and you are done with the paper. And this was a question where you might have got, without, QT were the first two that could have very easily been identified. So minimum 2 to 3 correct you could have got. So out of those 22 plus 25 correct, 24 to 25 correct out of 30 you could have got, right? Okay, if you had bungled up this passage. If you did not bungle up this passage, you could have got 27 to 28 out of 30 correct. So your score could have been 26 or above, and in this case your score could have been 22 plus. And within 16 minutes, my friend, within 16 minutes you could have done this. And that's an achievement, isn't it? 16 minutes and you are done with this, right? Another 1 minute, let's say, for identifying the skeleton of the paper, right? So the idea here is that, when we look at this paper, 16 minutes to the English language section, 17 minutes to the English language section. You have 3 minutes to spare and you are done with that section. You can calm your mind. You can take a break between section, mental break between section, and prepare yourself for the next section, right? Okay, that's the power of strategy. Without strategy, even if you manage a score, you are at the tethering end of the time. You are not in control of your time, right? Okay, so what's a good score? What's a good score in this particular paper? Let's see. 25 plus, excellent score. And you saw that was possible, my dear friends. That was definitely possible. 21 to 25, very good score. That's not a bad score at all. Very good score. And you saw that even if you have bungled up the para-jumble set, you could have got that 21 to 25, isn't it? Right. And finally, 9 to 21, good score, could have done better, but below 19 is something you shouldn't have got in this paper. And I am sure that when you have gone through the analysis, tell me honestly, while you have gone through the analysis, don't think about what you had gotten earlier. Think about what you could have got. I mean, after the analysis, you see that what is your capability, what is your new score. If you had taken the paper in this order, if you had stuck to the time limits, what is the score that you would have got? Would it be less than 19? If you are well prepared, I can guarantee that it would not be less than 21. Write it in the comment section. Let me see what is your new score. What is the score that you get after going through the analysis section? What do you think should have been a score that you could have got in here? And I hope to, and I know that people who have prepared well, they would get in the new score section 22 plus, 24 plus, 25 plus. So which makes us believe that if you have prepared well and you plan your paper, these two things together, plan your paper well, then you are going to crack this paper with flair, with flying colors. No one can stop you, no one. Got it? Right? Okay, that's what it is. So strategize your paper, take the paper, and stick to the time limits that you have made for yourself for all types of questions, and go and crack the paper with all might. Okay, so all the best. I would end today on this note, and hoping that this class helped you and would help you in the upcoming exams. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye, and all the best.